Hello, everyone, and welcome to English Digest. I am Pat.
And I am Kat.
Hi, Kat. I haven't had any chance to teach with you before.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward
not so
to
far.
it.
Me too.
Okay, so today's article is a bit about internet or online trolls. Now, we'll kind of explain what these people are in the article.
They're people?
They are barely people.
I see.
Do they bother you? Have you been bothered by trolls?
In the past, yes. Now I've kind of learned how to not interact with them and not really be bothered by them, which is, I guess, one of the things that we're going to talk about today.
Yeah. I don't tend to ever bother arguing with anyone online.
Exactly.
Probably because I keep a lot of my stuff online, basically very silly. So I don't go in for sort of political or any kind of posts like that.
I see. Yeah, I follow a lot of political people, but I don't make a lot of political posts myself. So I might have strong beliefs, but I don't go shouting them everywhere.
Yeah, I kind of believe that you can't change anyone's mind by arguing with them on Facebook or some other site. I don't think it'll actually work. So I kind of steer clear of that. You see comments on YouTube pages or on the Taipei Times website often has some silly back and forth between people as they argue. You can tell some are very strongly one side and some are very strongly the other.
Everybody's got an opinion.
Yeah, and these are the kind of people, especially the ones who use fake names and kind of only post things to start arguments.
Right.
That's what we're going to talk about today. So let's read through the article first and then talk through it.
All right, let's go. No matter where you're browsing on the internet, you're bound to come across a nasty comment or two. Many of these are left by internet trolls who deliberately try to offend, attack, or upset people in online communities. Unfortunately, the internet is full of trolls. Whether they're posting on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, or the comment sections of websites, these individuals have only one intention, and that is to stir up trouble. The anonymity that the internet affords can bring out the worst in people. People can hide behind their screens and behave in ways they wouldn't in real life. What trolls do to prompt a reaction ranges from name-calling to hate speech to violent threats. Rarely is there any point to this bad behavior other than to amuse the trolls themselves. What's worse, they often receive more replies than average users. Why do trolls get a kick out of posting offensive content to make people feel bad? Research suggests it's because they display high levels of psychopathy, narcissism, and sadism. It's believed trolls lack empathy and the ability to feel guilt and have a heightened sense of self-worth. What's more, it seems like they take pleasure in others' pain and misfortune. Moreover, by drawing attention to themselves and sparking heated debates, trolls can feel important, perhaps much more than they are in reality. If you ever find yourself confronted by a troll, just ignore them. Since trolls feed off the suffering of others, engaging with them can make matters worse. If you feel the need to speak up, respond with kindness and humor, a reaction they usually don't expect. Only by not rewarding trolls for their toxic behavior can we curb trolling.
All right, so that is our article, and basically that is what internet trolls are. Nasty, nasty people.
That's right. And I thought when I first saw the title of this, if you didn't see the word internet, you might think it was a different kind of troll.
That's right. The word troll in mythology, in myths from Sweden and Norway and that part of the world, a troll is a large monster that kind of looks like a giant walking stone or tree or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
You'll see them sometimes in movies. The Lord of the Rings movies have a lot of trolls in.
Yeah.
Any kind of fantasy game might have kind of big, stupid, angry creatures.
Yeah, they're usually not very smart. Sometimes they can't even talk.
Right.
But they are big and scary and can hit you very hard.
They're monsters, basically. Trolls are a type of monster. But the actual word troll in terms of an internet troll also comes from the word trawl. T-R-A-W-L, trawl. And that's a fishing technique where you leave some bait or a net hanging in a moving boat and you kind of see what bites or gets caught in it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And so the idea is people who would troll online, they leave a comment and they see what bites. They kind of leave something dangling and see who kind of takes that bait and reacts to them. So
because there's always somebody who will.
Yeah, so it kind of comes from both those sources.
Yeah.
So we start off reading, no matter where you're browsing on the internet, you're bound to come across a nasty comment or two.
Oh, yes.
So to browse means to scan through something, usually text or a website or even some data, to get an idea of the contents. We use it for online, just kind of clicking on links to read stories. You're not really looking for anything specific. You're just going to a website, maybe a news website, and reading anything that catches your attention, kind of following links from one place to another.
Yeah.
We can also use browse to mean sort of shop in a casual way. Look around a shop, seeing what you might fancy buying. Not really intending, like, I want to buy this, but just seeing what is there.
Yeah. Like often I'll, wander through markets and go into shops to browse. And, if the shopkeeper comes up to you and asks, like, can I help you find anything? You can just say, just browsing, and they'll generally leave you to it. So it's a pretty good way to just enjoy your time kind of looking around. Yeah.
Yep. But when you're browsing on the internet, you're looking at sites. Sometimes these sites have comments below them, again, like a YouTube video.
Right.
And sometimes there are nasty comments.
Yeah. So comments are, in this case, like things that people say in response to things like videos or Facebook statuses or Twitter. It's basically any time you see a bit of text that somebody has written on the internet, that's called a comment. And sometimes it's specifically called comments, and sometimes it's things more like posts or maybe tweets for Twitter specifically, things like that. Also, of course, you can make comments in your real-life conversations, like when you are having a conversation with a whole bunch of people and maybe two people are kind of talking most of the time, but you want to throw in your 2 cents, as they say. So you make a comment.
Yeah, it's like your opinion or your take on another subject or the main subject that's being discussed.
Yes.
So unfortunately, many of these nasty comments are left by internet trolls who deliberately try to offend, attack, or upset people in online communities. If you do something deliberately, you're doing it on purpose. These aren't people who just kind of say what they think and then, oh, sorry, I've made someone upset, and they would apologize. I didn't mean it, that kind of thing. They don't do it by accident. They're doing it really just to hurt people, just to start arguments. And that's their intention. It's their purpose. It is deliberate.
Right. Yeah. So deliberately would be the adverb of deliberate, on purpose. So if they're deliberately trying to offend you, well, offend is kind of what we're talking about here with what they are doing, which is making you feel upset or making you feel like they're attacking you. They're trying to say something to make you angry or something that really gets you personally. Like maybe if somebody were to say something about women, that would be very offensive, which is the adjective of offend, the verb. So if you offend people, it means you make them upset, you make them angry, you make them feel attacked or like they need to defend themselves, something like that.
Exactly. And unfortunately, the internet is full of trolls.
Whether they're posting on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, or the comment sections of websites, these individuals have only one intention, and that is to stir up trouble. So there's, these major websites like Facebook, YouTube, and comment sections, as we said, where they're trying to really get a rise out of people, and they're trying to stir up trouble.
That's a good phrase as well. Get a rise out of someone means to get someone to react emotionally, whether it's anger, whether it's being upset, something like that.
Yeah.
So that is, and getting a rise out of someone is stirring up trouble.
So stirring up trouble is like, you could almost think of it like cooking, where if you are stirring some ingredients together, maybe these ingredients are things that make people upset if you say them, and then you stir them like with a spoon, and that means it makes trouble. So that's stirring up trouble. And we often say stir up when it comes to emotional reactions, when somebody says something or does something to make you react or feel an emotional, like usually a negatively emotional way.
Yeah, if you think when you stir up, like in cooking, all the things you stir will come to the top. And it's the same with emotions. They will kind of rise up and become sort of more visible and obvious. They'll come to the top of your mind and make you want to react.
Right.
Okay, let's look at the next paragraph, talking about the internet and what trolls are doing here. And it says the anonymity that the internet affords can bring out the worst in people.
Okay.
So anonymity is a noun. It's the noun form of anonymous. If someone or something is anonymous, they are not leaving their real name. They might have no name. They might be using just their online kind of fake name.
Yeah.
It's something a lot of people do online. They create like a little name for using, like playing a game on gaming websites, or just this is my kind of fun name for commenting on forums or other group chats. But because of that, you don't know who these people are. They are anonymous. You don't really know. You can't see them. You can't go and say, hey, I know you. You can't do that. You're going to get in trouble, because these people just live under kind of fake names.
Right, right. And that makes them feel safe because they feel like, hey, nobody knows who I am. They don't know where I live. They haven't met me in person, and I don't even have to look at their faces. I can say whatever I want and get away with it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now here we've got the word affords being used not to mean like afford to buy something, have enough money. If something affords something, it provides or supplies an opportunity. So because the internet is anonymous, you can use a fake name. That gives you an opportunity to do this bad thing. And in this case, it's bringing out the worst in people. To bring out the worst in someone is to give them the chance to show their worst side. You can bring out the best in someone. A situation might show all of your good qualities, but being able to hide behind a fake name shows off your worst qualities, because you know you can get away with doing whatever bad things you want.
Yeah, so the internet can bring out the worst in people. It can also bring out the best in people. It's really kind of either or sometimes.
It's a neutral thing that people can use one or the other way.
Yeah. And why can it bring out the worst in them? Well, it says people can hide behind their screens and behave in ways they wouldn't in real life. So not literally hiding behind their screens, but as we said, nobody knows who they are, what they look like, where they live, because they are anonymous and they don't have to reveal any of that. It's not like you're required to reveal these sorts of things when you use the internet, so they can sort of hide behind their identities, or figuratively hide behind their screens, which is referring to their computer screen or their phone screen.
Yeah, and they can do things like say things that's so bad that if it was in real life, they would probably get a punch.
Oh,
or, maybe reported to the police. But online, they can just do it.
Yeah.
So what trolls do to prompt a reaction or cause a reaction ranges from name-calling to hate speech to violent threats. So name-calling is pretty obvious. It's calling people bad names, just using whether it's bad words or just saying, you're stupid or something like that. So that's sort of the smallest version, and probably some people can just ignore that. They can just go, hey, whatever, it's just a name.
For sure.
But hate speech is a bit worse.
Yeah, hate speech is when you are actually saying something that is hateful toward a certain group of people. So like whether it's something racist, maybe, you're saying something about a certain race of people, or you're saying something about a certain gender, or maybe like LGBTQ people or immigrants, or, there's any variety of groups that any internet troll or any person could target and try to hurt. And if they're deliberately saying something that is hateful and trying to stir up hate for these people, that's called hate speech. And in some places, that's illegal.
Exactly.
It could get you arrested.
As it should.
Yes.
And it goes worse than that. Or maybe not. Maybe hate speech is worse than violent threats. But violent threats are made. I will kill you. I will do bad things to you, and so on. Anything that's violent involves using kind of physical power to hurt somebody.
Yes.
So like a violent attack would be somebody hits you with something. A violent conflict would be something where a lot of people get hurt.
Yeah,
so a violent threat isn't just like, I'll say bad things. It's I will find you, I will do nasty stuff to you.
Yeah, physically.
Yeah, and people will say that online.
Yeah.
We'll carry on with this paragraph in just a moment, but now it's time for us to take a short break.
Okay, we are back and we are continuing with our article here. We've been talking about what do trolls do online. For example, they might call people names, they make violent threats of physical harm, or they might make hate speech targeted at certain groups of people. But rarely is there any point to this bad behavior other than to amuse the trolls themselves. So here we're saying there's no point, which means there's no real particular goal for them behaving this way. They're not trying to convince anybody of anything. They're not trying to get people on their side. They're not even trying to just, they're not
making friends with other people
or
anything.
All.
They're just having what they think is fun.
Yeah, they're amusing themselves,
yes.
Which means they're trying to make themselves laugh or say like, these people are so stupid and emotional, so I'm the best.
I'm better than them, yes.
Yeah, exactly.
And what's worse, they often receive more replies than average users. So someone leaves like a positive comment or just says what they think, maybe a few people respond. A troll says something annoying or hateful, and a lot of people try and either fight back and say, no, you're wrong, you're stupid, hey, that's really bad. And then other trolls might jump in to comment, and it just causes a big mess of comments.
Yeah.
And the trolls like that more because it means they've affected a lot of people, and therefore they are smarter in their minds than these people. But why do they do this? What is part of the point of being a troll?
Well, I guess we learn about that in the next paragraph because there's several different things that apparently motivate them. So starting off with this paragraph, why do trolls get a kick out of posting offensive content to make people feel bad? And when we say somebody gets a kick out of something, it means that they're doing it for their amusement. They're doing it for entertainment reasons. They're
enjoying themselves.
Exactly, yeah. If you get a kick out of something or somebody, it means, you're enjoying that thing. So they're enjoying offending people and they're enjoying making them feel bad.
So people have researched this because internet trolling has become kind of a big thing in the last particularly 10, 15 years. Mm-hmm. It's something that scientists and people who know about social behavior are researching. And research suggests so people are posting and trolling because they, the trolls, display high levels of psychopathy, narcissism, and sadism.
Oh, those are some big
old words. So, yes.
Big old mental conditions.
Psychopathy, that's the start. First one, psychopathy. Now, this is the condition of suffering from a kind of a mental problem or disorder which causes you to behave in not normal or violent ways in a social group. So, someone who has this problem is called a psychopath, and they kind of don't see it as wrong to attack others if they believe, they're in the right.
If it will bring them some benefit, they'll be happy to attack other people, offend other people, or bring other people down, like even in real life.
Yeah, and they don't see that as being wrong. They see that as, no, this is what I have to do. I don't see why anybody has a problem. They don't seem to understand that socially this is wrong or not normal.
Right, yeah. And they don't feel any guilt over that. They don't feel any negative emotions over what they're doing.
So what's narcissism then?
Well, narcissism is a fun one because it has a fun backstory. It's actually this disorder named after this Greek hero.
Yeah. It wasn't really
not exactly a hero, but his name was Narcissus. He looked at himself, his reflection in a pond, and he fell in love with himself. So that kind of tells you what narcissism is. It's the quality of really liking yourself a lot and thinking that you can do no wrong, basically. Like you have a really, really high sense of self-worth, usually more than is actually true. It's not about being self-confident. It's about being like so self-confident or so wrapped up in yourself that you can't see when you're being wrong.
Yeah, and you don't realize when other people are being hurt because all you care about is yourself. Okay, sadism is basically the enjoyment of causing others pain. You just enjoy it when the things you do cause other people to suffer, either physically or mentally. It's actually named after, was he a French noble 100 or 200 years ago? The Marquis de Sade.
Oh, yes.
That's what
He's
caused,
a very
he caused pain
guy.
to people. Yes, sadistic is the adjective form. But it's named after this guy who caused people pain, and he kind of got this condition named after him. But it means that you like causing pain. It makes you feel good. So all of these are bad things. We also learn about, from this research about trolls, it's believed trolls lack empathy and the ability to feel guilt, and as Kat just mentioned, have a heightened sense of self-worth.
So self-worth ties back into narcissism, but also it's about the lack of empathy, which is more about the psychopath element of being a troll. So if you lack empathy, empathy is the human element that allows you to basically understand what other people are feeling and be able to identify with the feelings they're experiencing. So if someone near you is upset or feels sad, if you have empathy or if you're an empathic person, you can feel bad for them. You can kind of take on their sadness and feel like, I want to help this person and I want to make them feel less bad.
Exactly. Like, I'm sad too. I share your sadness. I share the fact that you're offended, that kind of thing, rather than just, that's not me. I'm not bothered by this.
Yes, exactly.
Trolls also lack the ability to feel guilt. We've mentioned guilt. Guilt is the feeling that you've done something wrong, you're sorry, you wish you could kind of undo what you just did because you're aware that you've done something that's wrong. Trolls don't feel it as much. They don't feel that what they did is wrong. They will find ways to justify it and say, oh, I did this because it was funny. No one should take it seriously. They just don't feel bad when they do bad things.
Why don't you take a joke?
Exactly.
That sort of thing. It's even if it's not a joke, they'll pretend that it's a joke, and just so that, you know, they can feel justified by saying hurtful things.
Yeah, so it's that, no, I'm not guilty. I didn't do anything wrong.
Exactly. Yeah, and of course, what's more, it seems like they take pleasure in others' pain and misfortune. And this goes back to sadism. If you are a sadistic person, you take pleasure in other people's pain and misfortune. There's a great German word, which is one of my favorite words in the world for this, schadenfreude.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. I'm not going to try and spell it.
It means joy at other people's pain.
Downfall, isn't it?
Yeah. Shameful joy.
Yes.
Joy at other people's pain.
Yeah.
And they probably feel a lot of that.
Exactly. Yeah. So all of these personality characteristics are commonly demonstrated in trolls, and it sort of is why they do it, because it's in their nature. But there's a bit more. We see that, moreover, by drawing attention to themselves, so making people notice them, and sparking or causing heated debates. So heated debate is a very kind of strong argument that makes people feel a lot of strong emotions.
Yes.
So by doing this, trolls can feel important, perhaps much more than they are in reality. So maybe in reality, these trolls, they maybe don't have jobs or they have very low-paying jobs. They're not people who can influence the world and get a lot of admirers. So they do this online and then they feel like, well, a lot of people are reacting because of what I did. A lot of people are, you know, fighting because of me.
I'm influential.
Yes, they feel more important. They feel a lot kind of bigger than they actually are in their kind of unsatisfying real life.
Yeah, and it actually makes you feel a bit sorry for them.
Not that much.
Not that much,
say, no.
A bit. Like, you know, maybe I think unhappy people try to make other people unhappy. That sort of feeling.
Yes, misery likes company.
Yes, exactly.
So what can we do about all this?
Well, I mean, really what you can do is a phrase that I've heard often applied to this situation, don't feed the trolls.
Do not feed the trolls.
Doesn't mean don't give them food. It means don't give them comments. So as this paragraph says, if you ever find yourself confronted by a troll, just ignore them. Yeah. So, yeah, what does we mean by confront here? If you confront somebody, it means you kind of come face to face with them or you come directly at them. So if a troll confronts you or, you know, you see something confrontational, which is like argument starting, in a comment section, you just got to keep walking. Just keep scrolling, just go on by and don't even engage.
Yes, because if someone confronts you, they basically want to fight or argue with you to be aggressive. So you just let them be aggressive and don't respond to it. Because since trolls feed off the suffering of others, engaging with them can make matters worse.
Right.
So if you reply to a troll, they'll think, great, this is what I've got. This is their food because they feed off that thing. We often use feed off if you think of animals. So like one animal feeds off another. Some animals feed off plants and so on.
Mosquitoes feed off us.
Yes. So trolls feed off other people being angry or upset by what they've done. So if you show them that you don't care by not responding, then they will have nothing to feed on. So they will figure like, oh, what's the point? There's no point engaging with or trying to have any kind of conversation with this person.
Right. And they'll feel kind of disappointed by that, I think.
Exactly.
Right. So if you feel the need to speak up, because sometimes you just can't help it, like because they're just so annoying or so wrong or something like that, there are some times where, speaking up is kind of necessary. It depends on the situation. But if you feel the need to speak up, respond with kindness and humor. So tell a joke and be nice to them because they're not expecting people to be nice to them because it says a reaction they usually don't expect.
Yeah, they don't expect someone to say, oh, that's a really good point. Thanks. I never thought of it that way. So at which point the troll may go, well, hang on, you don't seem to be angry. What's the point in trying to target you?
Yeah.
So, but I would say, personally, don't even bother with that. Just, ignore. And if it's on your own Facebook or whatever, you can block or delete that person.
Yeah, I often find myself, if it's bad enough, reporting them.
Yes.
Like there have been instances where they just said something that's overtly racist, overtly just terrible, and just report them.
Exactly.
Don't even engage.
Yeah, because only by not rewarding trolls for their toxic behavior can we curb trolling. Trolling is the noun or gerund form of posting bad comments like this. Toxic in this case means very bad, very unpleasant and harmful. So harmful, unpleasant behavior, and we want to curb it.
Right. We want to make sure that we can get it to stop. And if more people do this, then, less trolls will show up.
Exactly. Curb means to stop something, to restrain it, to kind of stop it from getting bigger. It doesn't mean completely wipe it out, but it does mean stop it being a huge problem.
Exactly.
Okay, that is the end of our article. I hope you've learned something about how to react to trolls online. That's all from us for English Digest. I'm Pat.
And I'm Kat.
Talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.
See you later.